started with everyone introduce themselves, how they would introduce themselves to anyone.
Okay.
And then your relation to me.
Okay.
And then how long you've known me.
Really known you? I met you right after you were born. But I didn't know you then.
Yeah.
So, gosh, how long have you guys been out here now? How old were you when you moved out here?
Well, it was 2001.
Okay.
So, and I was born in 98. So I wasn't even 3 yet.
I know.
So about 18 years.
Yeah, because I remember you from being a little toot.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you from the time you were born.
Yeah.
So, no. God, that's impossible. Okay, so you want me to introduce myself the way I would introduce myself to a stranger. And you need me to tell how long I've known you. So 18 and a half years then. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Have we done it?
No.
Oh. What else do you want to know?
Well, that's it, and then I'll start asking you questions.
Okay, that's cool, just as long as you don't get too personal. Get too personal? Okay, let's do this.
Okay. So, it's recording already, so you can start.
Hi, my name is Josie Maxine Munro. I am Kaylin Jake's grandmother, and I've known him for 18 and a half years.
Perfect. And you don't gotta look at the camera, you can look at me.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. So, where were you born?
I was born in Pasadena, California, May 13th, 1945.
1945.
In the Women's Hospital.
The Women's Hospital.
Women's Hospital. It's no longer there. It was run by female doctors.
Oh, wow.
Which in the 40s was very unusual. That's all I really know about that. My dad was in the military, so and he was stationed on the island of Saipan, and he finally got to meet me in September of 1945. What else?
So, what's your earliest memory?
We lived in Pasadena, and my mom and dad had a party, and I think it was like 2.5, and they had left out a mess, and there was this coffee table that had a tablecloth on it, and I walked over to it and pulled the tablecloth off and didn't break anything. I was a magician.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom came into the room and saw it. She was just totally shocked. But I do remember that because I thought it was neat that I could do that. Nothing broke.
Yeah.
That's my earliest memory.
Okay. So, how did you meet Grandpa?
I met Grandpa, I met Daryl, a good friend of mine. She was very upset. She ran away from home. Her name was Karen Northway. And Daryl found her sitting on a bus bench. And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And she was like, I guess Karen was like 16 then. And he talked her into going home. And he walked her home. And she invited him to have lunch on a Saturday. Called me up and said, Josie, can you help me? I invited this guy to lunch and I don't know what I'm doing. So I went over. I helped her set up for lunch. And the time came for him to arrive and he didn't show up. And I walked outside and I saw this guy leaving with a cute little tush. And I whistled. And he turned around and I said, hey, is your name Daryl? And he said, yes. I said, you know, we're waiting lunch on you. And he came back and that's how I met him. And then I found out that he knew my brother. So it was just, it was meant to be. That's all.
He knew John?
He knew my brother John. They were in school together.
Mm.
So I thought he was younger than he was. He was actually behind. They had put him back. And then, but we were friends for 2 years. And then we started dating. And then we got engaged. And then we were married for 49 years.
Wow.
So, no, it was cool. We had a good relationship.
Yeah.
We really did. And what else? Oh, and then your mom was born when I was 22. And your Aunt Sherry was born when I was just before I turned 25. And then I said, we both said, no more kids. And that's where I am now, with 5 grandchildren and 1 great-grandson. So I can't complain. I've had a good life.
Yeah. So, are you happy with yourself right now?
Actually, since I really do know myself now, yes, I'm very happy with myself. And I can get angry at myself and not be ashamed at the fact I'm getting angry. I can laugh at myself, which is the most important thing to be able to do. And I can actually make fun of myself, which I think is one of the hardest things in the world to do. But no, I'm very happy with myself.
That's good.
And I figure I'm going to make it to 85, so watch out, kiddo. What else?
So thinking of who you are as you are now, what in your past helped shape you? Like, what events specifically have helped shape who you are now?
I think it all started from when I was like 8, because I always was responsible for my brother John. So at 8 years old, even though I was an 8-year-old little girl, I had to become an 8-year-old adult to take care of him. So I didn't have the opportunity to really be a child. You know, a kid, go through all the neat things that you do. I was always having to think older than myself. So I'm trying to think if I ever reverted. I can't remember. I think when I was about 16, I put a halt on everything, and I went through a year. I don't know how my mom put up with me, but I did go through a year where I was kind of rebellious. But at the end of that, I said, "Why am I doing this? I'm not helping I'm not helping myself. I'm hurting myself." And
Monkey.
no,
Big pup.
big.
It's just because the audio.
Anyway, so no, I think it really started when I was 8. There's not one real big thing in my life that caused me to change. It built up progressively.
Yeah.
You know, no. And I made money babysitting from the time I was 12. So like I said, I was always having to be older than I really was mentally.
Yeah.
So, no, the best thing that ever happened to me was I met your grandpa.
Yeah?
Yeah, it really was.
So you're just mature from a young age.
Yeah. And so with your mom and with Sherry, I sat down and I said to your grandfather, I said, they have to be allowed to be kids. Because he was allowed to be a child. And he said, well, you were a kid. I said, I never was a kid. I never was allowed to be a kid. So he understood. I don't think they did it right away. I think your mom does now, how important it was.
Yeah.
And what else?
Have you ever been depressed?
Yes, when I was 30, I was telling your mother about this. I used to have occasional bouts of depression, but I figured they were normal bouts of depression. And I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when I was about 30, I had about 6 months where there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And the only person I had to go to was my friend Gina. And I called and talked to her, because I couldn't afford a psychiatrist or psychologist. And she was going through a bout of depression around that time also. So between the two of us, we helped each other through that part of our lives. So, and we saved ourselves a fortune because we were just calling friends. And that was about for 6 months. And then after that, I was fine. And I could feel myself slowly, maybe getting a little depressed. And I closed my eyes. Oh, the tunnel's there. Fine, I see the light. It's a normal routine. It's a normal feeling. It's not something that I'm going to run out and slit my throat. So, yeah, I'm not afraid to admit that.
Yeah.
So, what else?
Well, when you were depressed, you said talking with Gina helped. Was there anything else that helped you?
No, I actually was having someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Because there are things when you are depressed that you can't really go to your spouse and talk about, because even though they try to understand, they can't really understand your emotion. So by having a friend, a real friend that you can talk to, you can say anything to them and you know it's not going to go anywhere. So no matter how stupid you sound when you're speaking, it's a relief, you know. And so I'm glad she was there. She told me one time she was glad I was there. But it's just weird that we went through it at the same time, you know, that 6 months.
Yeah.
No. But, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I could ever go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist because I don't know them. And I don't want them to know my secrets. I don't want them to know how I feel. I know that sounds a little strange, but when you're paying somebody money to listen to your problems, I'm sorry you don't have friends. I think everybody needs a friend.
Yeah.
So
were there things you tried that didn't help at all?
Trying to remember. When I first started getting depressed, it came on gradually. And all of a sudden one morning I woke up and I was crying. And I'm going, why am I crying? And because I've always been able to sit down and think things through. And I called Gina and I said, I woke up crying this morning and I'm trying to figure out why I was crying. And she said, so she said something funny, made me laugh, made me feel better. So I went on about my day. Then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, I realized, my God, I'm really in a blue funk. So I called her and I said, I need to talk to you. She goes, about what? And I said, just talk to you. And that's how we started. And she said, I've been feeling really bad lately too. I said, really? She goes, yeah. I said, okay. Every day for an hour? And she goes, yeah. So, because she was raising children and I was raising children, and we needed to give specific times. It worked great.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Everybody needs a friend. A real friend.
Yeah.
Not somebody that's fly by night. And I know they're hard to find.
Yeah.
Very hard to find. So even though Gina and I may not speak for 2 years, we can call each other and pick up conversation from the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is weird because Andy and her husband and your grandfather Daryl were best friends. And they used to stand there and just shake their heads because they could not understand how the two of us could do that. And I told them it's easy. We put it on hold. And when we see each other, we can pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
So, what else, sweetie?
Do you believe in afterlife, life after death, in a heaven or anything like that?
Oh, I believe you have a spirit. But the reason I believe that is because science has proven that there's something like less than 2 ounces or something of your weight changes from when you're alive to when you die. I think you must have a spirit, something. Because there's, I don't know. I really don't know now to think about it. When my mother was alive, my mom and my brother John and my sister Jean, we would be going about our day, and all of a sudden I'd stop and I'd make a phone call and I'd be to my sister and say, what's going on? And she would say, how'd you know? And I would just have a feeling. My brother would call me, what's going on? Why'd you call? I just had a feeling. As long as my mother was alive, the four of us had this like little electric wire connected. And so whenever there was a problem within our little group, one or the other of us knew it, and we would call and talk to that person. And then Gina and I got that little weird thing going. I could call, hey, what's going on? And she could talk to me. We may not talk for 3 months, but I'd call her, what's going on? Or she'd call me, what's going on? But after my mom passed, it disappeared. So the only thing I can think of is my mother was the connection. That's the only thing I can think of. Because once my mom passed away, we lost it. I didn't lose it with Gina, but I lost it with my own family. So there has to be something, you know. But I believe in evolution. Sorry. Because too many neat things have happened through the millennia. So, yeah, there might be a spirit. I don't think they can come back and bug you. You're right though, there has to be something because of our emotions, and I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. So Mom said that she was almost in a car accident once.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she heard her grandma call her a little shit and save her life. Like, she said
that.
she did something to the car so she didn't die.
Yeah.
You believe that?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I had one incident. My brother was in Vietnam, and I had this terrible dream, and it was a firefight.
Take it off.
Oh, okay.
I'll be home when I come back.
Okay.
Playing shoes.
Oh, who doesn't want to drink?
Oh, have fun. And John was in Vietnam, and I had this god awful dream. It was terrifying, but it was very vivid. And usually when I used to dream, they were just dreams. But this one was so real. It was like I was really there, and there was a where he was stationed at the time. There was a firefight, and the bombs were coming in, and I was screaming at my brother to dive, duck. He was sitting on they call him a hooch, and his legs were going back and forth like this, and his buddy was down below playing an acoustic guitar, and they were busy singing and just enjoying the night. And then all of a sudden these bombs started coming in, and I started screaming at my brother because I could feel the fire. And really worried about him, and I was crying, and your grandfather said I was actually calling his name in my sleep, and he couldn't wake me up. That's how far I was into my dream. And I pushed myself up in the bed, and I'm going, Johnny, just run, please run, get away, get away. And then all of a sudden, I heard my grandfather and my father's voice, and I turned around and looked, and they were standing there, and said, they just told me he's okay. I said, fine, and I went back to sleep. But I can remember seeing my dad and my grandfather. Now, I don't know if it was my subconscious bringing that vision to me, or if it was really true. I can't, because your id can do amazing things. But I remember that. And then when John got back from Nam, the four of us were sitting around the table, and for some reason I just said, hey, Paul, JP, he goes, what? I said, so tell me about this firefight that went on near your hooch, and the dude was downstairs playing guitar. He said, what kind of a guitar? I said, acoustic. And I said, your legs, and he just told me, he goes, shut up. And he got up and left the room. And I looked at my mom and my sister, and they were both crying. And I said, what are you crying about? When did you have this dream? So the three of us had the dream the same night. But I have no idea what caused it. But the thing that John didn't like is the fact that I could name the tune the dude was playing. And he goes, and it freaked him out. It's like I was really there. But I really don't know how it happened. Maybe it's just that the three of us were so worried about him. But it was true, it happened. So, but I can still hear my dad and my grandfather's voice. And I saw them. I really saw them. But like I said, I don't know if they were really there or if it was my subconscious, So.
So you believe Mom saw her grandma?
I believe it. Because your subconscious can do amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
It really can. Let's face it.
Yeah.
We really don't know that much about the subconscious. So no, I believe her. It's like nowadays, something will break down around here, and I'll be upstairs worrying about it, and all of a sudden I hear your grandfather's voice, Josie, don't be stupid. Think it through. And I'll sit there and I just say thanks, because of all the things he taught me through all the years we were married. But I do hear his voice. I swear, I hear his voice. But I know it's got to be my subconscious. He's not standing there going, so, no, what else?
So Mom said one of her earliest memories was an earthquake, and she thought it was Grandpa stomping around. Do you remember that?
I do. She was on the top bunk. It's when we lived on Bundy. And the earth moved. You would not believe it. I've been laying in bed and I looked over. I swore, I know it didn't happen, but I swore the roof in the corner opened up and I could see outside. You couldn't get up out of bed. Poor Daryl, he rolled over out of bed and you could not step, because when you took a step, the floor came up and fell down. And all I was trying to do was get from our bedroom to the girls' bedroom, which was right across the hall. And Sherry slept through it. And your poor mom was sitting up on the bed, and she has her hands over her ears like this. She goes, "Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop." But we couldn't get to her. He tried so hard, and he wouldn't let me get up out of bed because he knew I'd probably kill myself. But I remember that. Boy, that was vivid. And I called my sister because she lived in the valley at the time. And that was in 71. And you could actually look towards the valley, and there was this huge wall of dust that was in the air that took, I don't know how many, a week completely to settle. No, I remember that. I really do. And I remember hearing her, and Daryl's trying to get to her, and it was frightening because we couldn't go anywhere. I mean, he wouldn't let me up, and he couldn't get out of the bedroom door. And it was only less than 3 feet from our door to their door. It was terrifying. So, but I do remember that.
Yeah.
Her little body. God. What else?
So thinking of who you are now,
Mm-hmm.
is there anywhere where you want to be or anything you want to accomplish?
No, actually, I'm very satisfied with what I've accomplished in my life. With Daryl's help, we wound up having 2 wonderful girls, and they gave us some wonderful grandchildren, and we basically accomplished what we wanted to. We tried to raise our children to be respectful, and most of the time they were. And my grandchildren, they're usually mostly respectful. If they're not, I just look away. They're my grandbabies. But I won't tolerate small children not being nice to adults. It really irritates me to no end.
Mm-hmm.
And I will let a small child know. The golden rule, please and thank you. But no, I'm happy with what I've accomplished in my life. And I keep myself busy, and I'm healthy. And I don't want any boyfriends. I gave my life to one man, and that's who I wanted to keep. That's always the way I wanted it to be. The idea of meeting another guy, excuse me, gives me a stomach ache. Well, actually, for the first time in my life, I'm really my own person, right? I can be me, totally me. I can really indulge myself. Of course, you know how much I indulge myself. But anyway, I don't have to answer to anyone anymore. I only answer to myself. So that's the best part.
Yeah.
You know? And I know there will become a point in my life where I'll be old and decrepit, and I'll have to get somebody in here to help me. I don't think I'll be a very nice person. I think I will be angry about that. Because I've been basically independent for so long. Daryl and I were both independent of our own selves, but we were dependent on each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I miss him terribly. But I still like the fact I don't have to yell downstairs, "Hey, Daryl," or he doesn't have to yell upstairs, "Hey, Josie." And plus I'm thinking a way too, it's more comfortable, right? Because he was so sick the last year. And that's terrible to say. But he wouldn't tell me he was sick. Because he was too proud. So, no, you had a good grandpa. He had a temper. That's where your mom got her temper. No, he was good. So what else, sweetheart?
So what's your opinion, like what are your thoughts about me?
Well, I think, let me get my wording right. I think you're a good human being. I think you're going to grow into a great man. You're growing into one now, but when you reach the end, when you really are a man, I think you'll be a very great man. I have a feeling you will go on to accomplish what you want to. But don't get yourself in a rut to the point where you think this isn't working. There's always a reason for something happening. It's not something, nothing happens overnight. And with every experience you have, it's a learning experience. So just keep that in mind. It's really important. Because I'm still learning to this day. And I had a sitter years ago tell me that you have to keep your mind open, because the minute you start closing the doors, you're dead. So, and I think she was right. And she's also the one who told me that just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can't do anything you put your mind to. And this was a definitely liberated lady. So, that's all I can tell you. But you're going to grow up and accomplish what I know you're 20 and you think you're an adult. I know you do. Because I can remember being 20. But it wasn't until I hit 30 and I realized, boy, was I dumb in my 20s. I took so much for granted. That's okay. I didn't think adults knew what they were talking about. But I hit 30 and all of a sudden I went, oh gosh, you could have learned so much then. Right? So hitting 30, I felt liberated. And plus the other thing was too, is when you hit 30, for some reason, all these older adults look at you like you're mature. So they'll listen to what you're saying. And, but I can still remember that when I hit 30, oh God, I'm going to be 30. And I sat back, and by the time I started, I went, boy, was I dumb when I was 20. And with each decade, I felt better and better and better. You know what I'm saying? Because I try to learn something all the time. But boy, I was stupid in my 20s. Even though I had 2 daughters. You know, but you do. When you're in 20s, you think you know it all. But I can understand that. Because you had to put with so much crap when you were younger. So, what else?
What do you think about Irie?
I don't know her that well. I know her, but I don't know her. Because, okay, women learning to know each other is a different strategy, I think. I think she's sweet. I really like her. And I know she's intelligent. But I don't know. Of course, it's probably my fault because I haven't sat down and really talked to her. I'm learning how she expresses herself. But my God, she's 21. You know, she's going to be 22. And that's my fault, because I should have started sooner. You know? I mean, with your mom, I was there all the time. So it just was a natural thing. So that's all I can say. But I do like her. If I didn't, I wouldn't be nice to her. And I like your brother Nolan, even though he can be headstrong. But if he gets too headstrong, I can be just as headstrong. I like Kyle. Of course, maybe because he's my firstborn grandson. But I really don't, and I get along with him. But with the 2 older gentlemen, I let them know when they upset me. But I think I would do the same thing with you. If you did something that really upset me, you don't want to see me that way. And I'll tell you the truth, with your sister, I probably would give her more leeway because she's a girl. And that's all. What else?
Well, I was going to ask you how you felt about Nolan and Kyle, too.
Well, you have to realize, Kyle was born when I was 40. And Nolan, I was almost 42. And I used to go on walks with them. And nobody believed how old I was. They thought they were my children. And I said, no, I have grown children. No, yes, I do. These are my grandsons. And there was one fellow, a doctor, and he saw the 2 boys. Because when they were babies, they were beautiful babies. I'm not saying it because they're my grandchildren. I'm just saying they were beautiful babies. And I'm walking with the 2 of them. This guy comes up and he says, have you ever thought of putting your children in commercials? And I said, who the heck are you? He said, I live across the street. I see you with your children a lot. I said, these are my grandsons. And I said, I know they're beautiful, but I said, and because they were like perfect little people. I mean, perfect little babies. I don't know how to explain it, but they were. If you sat down and wanted to draw a child, that's how you would draw it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Kyle and I used to go on long walks together, right? I'd take his hand. Okay, where are we going to go today? Well, let's go down to 7-Eleven. Okay, we go to 7-Eleven. Come on, Grandma has to go to Ralph's. Okay, and Kyle grabbed my hand. We'd walk to Ralph's. You know, Nolan was too tiny to do all the walking, so once in a while I'd throw him in a stroller and we would stroll, this kind of thing. But no, I've known them since I carried Nolan around under my arm like a little football. I picked up Kyle right after he was born. I mean, I was there from the get-go, and so the first 5 years of Kyle's life, 5 years, and then he and his mom and Nolan moved out to Hesperia. But it was just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, so I have more, the sad thing is I have more of a connection with them because I knew them from when they were toots. And even though you were 2.5, maybe 3 when you moved here, you weren't a toot. You know, you already had your own mindset. So, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
What else?
How do you feel about Mom?
Oh, I'll take her. I won't throw her away. I like my Vicky. I should say our Vicky. I think she'll tell you that I try to listen, but when she does things that I think are a little idiotic, I do let her know, but I don't tell her. I don't get angry with her, because what does anger accomplish? But I do like her. Actually, I love her dearly. I wish I could do more to help her, because I know she's a great dear. She and her father are very much the same mentally, and I only know you can only go so far. You can't push, because they have to. They both had. She's learning now. Grandfather had to learn that they had to really rely on themselves, which is tough. I know that. So no, I do like your mother very much. And that's good to say, because most parents don't like their children. They tolerate them. They love them and tolerate them, but I like your mom. And I even like your Aunt Sherry, which I know she can be hard to take sometimes. And I like Nolan Quinners. I was there when he was born. I cut his umbilical cord. So, no, like I said, I've been very fortunate. I've had a good life. Thank God everybody's healthy. So, I don't know about mentally, but physically. And what else?
I had a question in the chamber and I forgot about it. So I was getting into what you were saying.
Sorry.
It's okay. How do you feel about my dad, Brian? And you can say however much or little you want to.
Okay, I'll be really honest with you. Really honest. All of the fathers of my wonderful daughter's babies, there was always something about them I didn't like. I couldn't go up and put a finger on it. I think what it was, with all of them, I always felt like they weren't honest. And I'm terrible. I go by my vibe now. When I was younger, I didn't. I would always forgive a person. And then after the third try, if it didn't work, then I'd get rid of them. And then I realized one time, no, you knew from the get-go, why are you letting this person do this to you 3 times? But every time I met one, there was just something I couldn't really, I didn't feel comfortable, so I realized I didn't trust. And that's basically it. With your dad, Brian, that's how I was. That I just always felt stiff around him. And same way with Nolan's dad, Scott, and Kyle's dad, Scott. There was just, I felt stiff. I couldn't be myself. And I think your grandfather sensed that too. He would say, "What is wrong with you? Why can't you relax?" I said, "What are you talking?" And you're just stiff all the time. But that's how I felt. It was just like I said, I couldn't trust them. And but you can't turn around and say to someone you love, "I don't trust this guy. What are you doing with him?" Because backs get bowed and they decide, "I don't have to listen to you." So I just figured, okay, you have to find out for yourself. And I know sometimes it's a hard way to learn something. But to be honest, your dad was good looking. But I never really trusted him. So I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I still don't trust him.
But I'm just saying, I'm sorry about that because being your grandmother, I would have loved to have been able to trust him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The fact that I couldn't and still can't, I feel sad for you because that's a part that's lacking. And, from me to you. Does that make sense?
It makes sense,
Okay.
but I think it's okay.
All right. So I don't have to feel guilty now?
Yeah, no,
Right.
of course not. I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Well, no, I think that's all the questions I asked everyone else.
Okay.
I've been trying to ask everyone the same questions.
So you see how we respond? That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Almost like a set of data.
Yeah. Sitting down with your zeros and ones. I do want you to know one thing. I really like Kayla. She's good people. I get nothing but good vibes. Okay?
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Right? It's like with Amberly. I've always got good vibes. And I told your older brother, you ever do anything to hurt her? And he's laughing. I said, no, Kyle, I'm being serious. You ever do anything to hurt her? He goes, yeah. I said, it's your house at the door. She can stay. And he looked, I said, I mean it. He says, I know, Grandma.
Well, thanks, Grandma.
You're welcome, sweetheart. That was fun.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Huh?
I'm glad that we could do this.
That was fun.